I'm a little bit late this year filming this video. My favorite winter palettes. Normally I do this the beginning to middle part of December, but I got a little bit behind. My husband is very ill, so he's been out of the hospital and we've had lots to take care of. So better late than never. So maybe for the rest of the season, if you have any of these palettes, this will kind of spark your brain to pull them out and get some use of them this time of the year. So I have a mix of high-end, luxury, and indie palettes. Let's go. The first palette that I wanted to share is the new Makeup by Mario Moonlight Ethereal Eyes palette. Here she is. This was released in the fall of 2024, and this is the cool tone sister of the original Ethereal Eyes palette. So even the browns here lean a little neutral to cool, but really this area right here is where the cool tones are. What I love to do is put this in my crease up here, and then I pack this navy all over my lid, and then I blend a little bit with this gray, and then I put these toppers over it. I got this idea from Babs Beauty, and that was such a pretty look that I did. It's on one of my videos. So the first palette that I definitely think gives me that wintry vibe is Makeup by Mario. Next, I want to share an indie palette. This is Unearthly Cosmetics, and this is the Don't Be Jelly palette. This is, in my opinion, one of the least wintry palettes that I have, simply because you have these warmer shades right here. But when I think of winter, I think icy and I think cool tones. So cool tone greens like this one, cool tone blues and purples. I think of very deep jewel tone colors and very icy colors when I think winter time. And this palette by Unearthly gives all of it to you. This area right here is very cool tone. This is such a deep, almost black purple. This is icy. Then you have your cooler tone purples and your cooler tone greens. You can get so many looks out of this palette. And even though it's about jellyfish, I think it's a great winter palette. Another palette that I think is not totally winter, but I put it in here anyway, is the Cool Neutrals palette by Sigma. So there's been different interpretations of what cool means to Sigma, but basically this side of the palette right here is really, really cool. This side is warmer tones, but I think that these right here are pretty. I wanted to include a Sigma palette, and this was the coolest palette that I had, to be honest with you. So these 6 tones right here are what I'm basing this off of. The glitters, the shimmers in this palette are so lovely and dainty, but really profound looking on the eyes. This purple right here, so cool tone, so beautiful. So the Sigma Cool Neutrals palette is definitely in my winter rotation. Sticking with the indie theme, I have 2 palettes from Inslee Rain in this format right here. I have one larger palette. So this is brand new. This is the Snow Moon palette by Inslee Rain. And this is a cool tone lover's dream. I've already used this a whole lot. So I like that you do have some more neutral mattes. You have lights, and then you have medium and dark mattes. And then these shimmers are multi-chrome, holochrome shimmers. So what I do is I use a combination of these mattes, and then I put this shimmer on the outside of my eyelid. I put this shimmer on the inside of my eyelid, and I have an ice princess look And of course, the Inslee Rain quality is absolutely phenomenal. So this is one of the two latest palettes, the Snow Moon palette. And the other one that went with this one is the Wolf Moon palette. I think I've used this one even more. No, actually, I've used Snow Moon more, to be honest. This one still has those beautiful, beautiful shimmers. And then again, you have your medium depth, you have some darker depth, and then you have lighter, so you can really build up a beautiful look. And this has the addition of some greens in here. All of these shimmers are just so vivid and so beautiful on the eyes, and as you move around throughout the day, you can just see their sparkle reflections. I usually try to get 2 shimmers on the eye just because I want to use as many as I can. But this palette by Inslee Rain is an icy dream, in my opinion. Staying with this indie theme for a while, this is the new Krypton Cosmetics palette. And I'm trying to remember, this is the Atlantis palette. That's what this one is, by Krypton Cosmetics. It's a C Beauty brand. And this has a lot of really pretty, cool tones. You do have some browns here, so you can have a neutral look, but these browns are not overly warm. And then the blues and purples and this charcoal, almost black color. But look at these shimmers. Look at that beautiful, beautiful multi-chrome shimmer by Krypton Cosmetics. This is my first time dipping into their palettes, and I'm so pleased with the quality of the eyeshadows in here. And I feel like this would just fulfill every cool tone dream you could possibly have in the wintertime. A newer palette also by Gourmand Girls is the Frozen Kiss palette. A lot of our indie brands came out with really, really icy themes this year. It's a very popular theme, and I've gotten a lot of use out of this palette as well. And again, I think I'm repeating myself, but you have your light pastels, and then your medium depths, and then your deeper depths to go through to build up your looks. And then you have a choice of magnificent shimmer shades that can complete any look. I saw Steph with Steph's Beauty Stash do a look with this on the eyelid and this on top. And it was so smoky and dramatic. It looked really beautiful on her. So I'm going to watch that video again. I think it's a short on YouTube. And I want to copy that look because it was just so phenomenally beautiful. So Gourmand Girls, as far as I'm concerned, they hit it out of the park with this Winter Dream palette. I have ordered the brand new Simply Posh Cosmetics palette. It has not come in. It's a pre-order, but I decided I wanted to feature a Simply Posh palette because they do have some cool tone palettes. And so I came up with Aurora Lights. So this has the cool tone, colorful mattes and then shimmers. And what I like about Simply Posh is that if you're just not sure that you're good at putting colors together, you can just do a look with each one of these rows. This row right here is my favorite. It's so pretty. And you can mix and match if you want. I used a Simply Posh Cosmetics. Which one did I use yesterday? The Coastal palette I used yesterday. And it reminded me of just how beautiful their shimmers are. They have the really nice multi-chrome, duochromes, but their sparkles are just so shimmery as you go about your day and you're moving your head around. Such a beautiful formula. And if I already had my latest Simply Posh palettes, the Cozy Cabin, and I can't remember what the newest one is, I would definitely have put that in here, but this is still a very beautiful, cool tone, wintry colorful palette. Let's do a couple of small palettes. Now I am going to feature the Natasha Denona Xenon, the mini Xenon palette. And if blue is your thing, then this has all kinds of shades of blue in it. And blue eyeshadow is so popular this year. So this is a really, really trendy color story right here. This is a duochrome kind of teal shifty shade here. It's not as profound of a shift as some of the indie palettes, but it's beautiful. And this icy shade right here is so gorgeous. I actually like to use this in the inner corner. I like to use this on the lower lash line. I use this as an eyeliner and just to deepen up a little bit. And then use this shimmer out here and this shimmer in here. And I use all the colors and I get a beautiful look with this palette. So the Natasha Denona mini palettes, most of them run warm. This one and the mini Xenon are the only cool tone ones that I know of. I don't have mini Xenon because I have the regular Xenon palette. So let's shift to Viseart now. And this is the Lila Dew. Woo, sorry, I almost dropped it. This is the Petite Fours palette. And this is very cool toned. This right here is not as cool toned, but these other colors make a beautiful cool tone look. And of course I like to mix my shimmers warm and cool sometimes, but sometimes if I want a cool look, I'll just use these. I'll put this in the crease, I'll darken up with this and put this on the lid. Most of the time though, I combine all four of these and it just makes a stunning look. I have one more Petite Fours palette by Viseart. This is the Violetta palette. This is my favorite Petite Fours palette. And this is super, super icy. This duochrome right here looks so pretty on the eyes. And then these complementing shades look really nice. This is a matte with some shimmers in it, but it translates mostly matte on the eye. And then I darken up with this, use this on the lower lash line, that all over the lid. And this is one of my very favorite Viseart palettes in my collection. Again, Viseart does have a lot of warmer tone palettes, so I am happy to have some cooler versions. Their latest one, the Cyrenus palette, is a perfect example of a cool tone palette done right by Viseart. So we have neutral to cool tones here in this palette. And when this palette came out initially, I think most of us said, hasn't this been done before? But then I started seeing looks and I started seeing reviews and I said, there is something different about this palette. And there is. It translates so beautifully on the eyes. And you can get a lot of different looks with this palette. Every time I reach in to this palette and play with it, I do feel like I get a very unique look that I have not done before. So this is the Viseart Cyrenus palette. We're going to go back to some indie brands now. So this is Clarity Cosmetics, the Forbidden Love palette. Skull and flowers, just give it to me. I love skulls and flowers. I just love that combination. So I have a couple of palettes by Clarity, but this is the Cool Tone palette. And this reminds me a little bit of Fantasy Cosmetics Cradled in Ice, which you'll see coming up. I think these colors are a little more vivid, where the one by Fantasy Cosmetica is a little more muted. This shade right here, it was fine when I received it. I didn't drop it or anything. A few days later when I went to dig into this palette, this just kind of crumbled up and it has a texture of sand. So something is going on with this particular shade, but the other ones are really nice. Blue and purple color stories are one of my very favorite. That's what this is, with a couple of neutral colors thrown in for versatility. But I love to combine these two shades together on the lid. You could use this as a topper, or you could go totally different and use this blue shade right here. And these blues may look kind of close when you're looking at them, and it's difficult in this light to really see the difference in them, but they are all a little bit different. These two may be a little closer than I prefer, but that's okay. I love a blue and purple palette, and I'll get a lot of the use out of this, especially in the winter time, because I wear a lot of blues and purples in the winter time. I have never done that season thing that people are doing, but if I had to guess, I would say that I am a winter. I look best, in cool tones and royal colors, or not royal colors, like jewel tones. That's what I'm trying to say. So while we're on that color story, this is the Fantasy Cosmetica Cradled in Ice eyeshadow palette. So this is, to me, a more muted version of the Forbidden Love by Clarity Cosmetics. These shimmers are just a dream. There is one warm shade if you wanted just some interest in the crease, a little warmth peeking out from underneath these blue tones. I love that contrast, and I also love that we have some cool tone browns. So if you need to wear this to work, you have a neutral look right here. This color story is, to me, it speaks to my soul. I love these colors together, all of them. Fantasy Cosmetica makes such a good quality eyeshadow, and Cradled in Ice is really right up my alley. Bougie Boudoir from Kaima Cosmetics. I have a couple of palettes from Kaima, but this is the cool toned. To me, this is more neutral than cool toned, but I still wanted to include it because it has some very nice cool tone shades here, shades that do lean a little cool, so you could make a neutral look or a cool look. Just because it's wintertime doesn't mean you're never going to wear a brown look. You're never ever going to use warm tone colors. So I thought this is a cool palette with cool shimmers that also gives you some warm options for texture, interest, dimension on your eyes. So the Kaima Cosmetics Bougie Boudoir palette. One that just came in the mail that was on back order is from Beauty Moon. This is, to me, a new indie brand, and the name of this palette is Ice Maiden. I saw this color story and I said, sign me up. It was a pre-order. I said, I don't care how long I have to wait. I want this color story. So here we have some more punchy, bright blues and pinks, but they're still cool toned. And so I think that if you want something a little brighter, but you still want that cool, icy kind of vibe, I think these would be really nice. Again, you do have the inclusion of this warmer peachy shade and this green multi-chrome that is really interesting, but overall, this is icy, cool vibe, in my opinion. And so Beauty Moon is a new brand, and I'm really impressed so far with what I've seen. So you guys might want to just look them up and see if there's anything that interests you on there. I think they're, did I get this from the UK? Yeah, I think I ordered it from UK. It's not on back order anymore. It's just when it was first out, it was pre-order. Natasha Denona, the Xenon palette. So this palette is kind of polarizing because a lot of people said this is just a black, gray, silver color story. But every time I use this palette, I get the most gorgeous looks. I can go smoky with this dark shimmer right here. This is a pink shimmer. This has a blue tint to it, and this has a brown tint to it. Even these colors here that look kind of similar, they translate differently on the eyes. And then you have some icy colors here that you really can't see the difference very well on camera like I can. I'm looking in my vanity mirror here, and I can see a difference in all of the textures and the colors of these, but on camera it just doesn't do this palette justice. When I want a super smoky glam look, I go to Xenon for sure. Another new palette to the market this winter was Huda Beauty Icy Nude. Even the high-end brands and the luxury brands got on the icy train. So yeah, this is overwhelmingly an icy palette, but you do have a little warm corner right here. This shade right here got a lot of hate because it is a glitter shade, and this is a very expensive palette. This is like some type of recycled material. I've actually used this glitter shade and it doesn't bother me. It's not my very favorite, but it doesn't bother me. It looks really pretty on the eyes, but I love these kind of mauvey, taupey shades that are included right here. This pink and these icy colors. This, for an inner corner, a matte inner corner, just absolutely gorgeous. And these two shimmers right here, they're more piecey. They're more chunky shimmers. And so some people don't like that, but if you apply them a thin layer, they do look really, really beautiful. You just have to get just a very thin layer. I use my finger, just a couple little touches, and then just all over the lid, and I don't have a problem with those. But Icy Nude, this is her last large palette. I have collected all of her large palettes like this, and I had to have the very last one. So now we're getting to my favorites. These are upcoming. These are my favorites. The first is Adept Cosmetics and Amy Loves. Amy Loves has a YouTube channel, and I really, really love her swatches. And this is a palette that she did in collaboration with Adept Cosmetics. And this is an icy cool dream for sure. If you've ever owned an Adept palette, you know the deal with their shimmers. They're not playing with their shimmers. And Amy did such a great job curating this palette. To me, these two colors right here are a little too close for my liking. I would have liked for one of them to be an even lighter gray. But besides that, I have zero complaints with this palette, and you can kind of see some of the dimensions with this. So this is definitely one of my top winter eyeshadow palettes. Another one of my absolute favorites is a new palette by Bella Beauté Bar. And this is the Realm of Fairies. This packaging is just gorgeous. So this is in collaboration with, I think, Sassy Fairy. And look at her version of a cool tone palette. I love her interpretation. So we've got blues, purples, pinks, and these multi-chromes and hollow chromes are so stunning. I hate to use the word stunning because it's used all the time on YouTube. I love to put either this color or this color on the outside of my lid, and then use one of these lighter colors on the inside of the lid, just so I can get more shimmers on my eyes. And Bella Beauté Bar's mattes are always really pretty. But this is when I need a deeper, smokier look. This is the winter palette that I will reach for. I've got 3 left, and these are, again, my favorites. So first of all, we have Cosmic Beauty Wonderland. I love this packaging. It just feels like it should feel cold to pick it up. The packaging is so pretty. And look at this color story. Oh my goodness. This multi-chrome right here, I don't know how well you can see all the shifts. This one right here too. I'll try to move this around a little bit so that you guys can see this, but you've got cool greens and teals in here along with your purples, blues, pinks, all of your cool shivery colors in here. Cosmic Beauty is an indie brand from UK, but their palettes are so affordable and the quality is amazing. So one of my very top winter eyeshadow palettes. Next we have Blend Bunny, the Longing palette. And this is your more muted cool tone colors. So what I like about Blend Bunny is a lot of their formats, you can, if you don't know what to do, just go up and down a row. So you do have a neutral row if you need to wear neutral makeup for the day. And then each row has a theme. So you could just go row by row with your looks, or you could mix and match if you want. I like that you have a shimmer here, shimmer, shimmer, shimmer. I just think the layout of this is beautiful. The way that they mix the dark and the lights is beautiful. The cool tones are absolutely beautiful. And this is a real winner of a palette. Blend Bunny just nailed this, and it's one of my very favorite winter palettes. Last but certainly not least is the large Inslee Rain palette. This is the Cold Moon palette by Inslee Rain, and I'm going to say this is my favorite. Look at this color story. So you have your kind of more muted, neutral, with a little bit of color mattes in here. You have some very light mattes. You have some medium shade mattes. And then you have your deeper mattes. And you have all different colors of shimmers to play with. Any combination that you feel like using on your eyes that day is going to look fantastic together. Just pick 2 mattes and a shimmer, and no matter what you choose, it's going to look good together. So this is definitely a beautiful, neutral, cool tone vibe with some outstanding shimmer formulas in it. Pat McGrath, the Mothership 1 palette. Here we go. A cool tone lover's dream. So you have these cooler browns and grays and taupes and a black and these blue and then these special shades right here. And so this was the Mothership palette that I chose to use for this video. This is just beautiful, cool tones. These first 3 palettes that she did were the best. So those are my cool tone palettes. Thank you for watching. Next, I will be filming my favorite romantic palettes. My wedding anniversary was on January 14th, and usually we go out to dinner, do something really nice. So I like to bring out all of my romantic palettes and show those to you around my anniversary. So I'll be doing that next. And then the grand finale will be my entire eyeshadow collection. And that will finish off my collection series. So thank you for spending time with me today, and I hope you have a great one.